anything I had to plant more than once. It was like all the exotic fruit trees that I tried worked. I think I lost most of the trees in the last few years because I could not manage to take care of everything. It got too big.
Welcome to the Healthy Reasonings podcast with Dr. Andre. You are now listening to your number one source for clear, unfiltered conversations about your health and wellness. Join us every Tuesday for success stories, educational topics, and interviews with wellness experts from around the world. You can listen to this podcast on your computer, phone, or any other electronic device that streams podcasts, or download each episode and listen to it on the go. Let's get started with today's episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, Healthy Reasoners, I'm back and I convinced this gentleman to do an interview with me. Anyway, this is Thomas Hubert.
No tea, just Huber.
Hubert,
Yes.
sorry, Hubert. And we were chatting a little bit. I was just telling him that what we do here is healthy reasonings, meaning we just talk. Now, this man has 11 acres of land.
Yeah, I buy 11 acres and neighbors tell me I can use their land as well. And so there's lots of land in Westmoreland.
And Thomas is the most fascinating gentleman because he lives off the land, but his aim is to fruitify Jamaica.
Yeah, I mean, the world actually, because it doesn't stop by Jamaica, but that's a good start, you know. There's also legal, logistical things once you deal with fruit trees internationally. Soil and such thing, you cannot move it, invasive species, which is not such a big problem with fruit trees, edible trees, and medicinal trees. But, you know, it's not sensible to bring trees from here in soil to another island. You can really create havoc.
Yeah, and destroy the
But,
world.
yeah, you know, you can
reshape.
assist. Reshape,
Yeah.
you know.
Because it would just mean that new species will become the dominant one, right?
You know, I had this moral question when I started. Said like, but how do I know what I should plant? And I said, look, I try everything 3 times. If it doesn't work in 3 times, I leave it alone. And the funny thing is, I hardly anything I had to plant more than once. It was like all the exotic fruit trees that I tried worked. I think I lost most of the trees in the last few years because I could not manage to take care of everything. It got too big.
Listen, Thomas is almost single-handedly caring for what is really a fruit forest.
Yeah, it turned into that actually. Yeah.
Because he has tons of exotic fruit trees scattered across, most of which I've never heard of. And, you know, he's been kind of educating me on the various things. As a matter of fact, we just did a little herb exchange. And I felt a little good because I had found a seed that he didn't know.
Yes.
So
There are plenty of them out there. And that's also why everybody that is interested in this thing, we need to cooperate and collaborate because there is so much to do. You know, there's 2,000 different kind of mangoes, 700 different kind of guavas.
Oh, wow.
I was just in Switzerland and I get an education about apples.
Oh, wow.
They lost 1,000 species in the last 50 years. There's still a good amount left. But, and this is a bit where my frustration comes in sometime, you know, Switzerland is one of the richest countries. And I'm coming from a very rich village in that country. And my grandparents' farm had more than 150 different kind of fruit trees.
Wow.
And now it's cow common. They take them, you know, in the name of progress and making the land usable for machines. They take down all the fruit trees, 200-year-old trees, 150-year-old trees that were producing every year.
Still.
Yes, they take them down, and instead of caring the land and be joyful when there are spoiled fruits around, they're complaining, oh, the spoiled fruits, nobody eats them, chop down the trees so we have less of a mess. And I think it's such a short-sightedness, it's dangerous.
And it's beyond dangerous. It worries me. I'm glad we started this conversation because I didn't know it would take this twist. Because I always say on my podcast that the original, don't mind the siren. So I can't.
Somebody who don't use your words.
So anyway, I always say on the podcast that yes, I understand the need to be able to preserve food so it lasts longer. But growing up as a child, my thought was, especially having gone through Hurricane Gilbert, and we're going to talk about Melissa, my thought was that the reason to do that was for cases of emergency, so like war or famine or something. But to me, over the past couple of generations, what we've seen is more and more of what we call food is what I grew up thinking was emergency food. So tin food, foods that last forever on the shelf. Obviously fast food. I don't need to talk about fast food and how fast.
Kill you fast food.
So it's a total 180 because now we're depending on stuff that has long shelf life and ignoring, as you said, the stuff that's readily available. And I've had this conversation so many times because people say, well, farming is too difficult. And yet, herbs in Jamaica, at least, they grow without no farmers. Right? When I go up to Thomas's place, Thomas has so many different things growing that sometimes I ask him, do you have this? And he said, well, maybe. You know?
Yeah, now it's a big maybe because I have not even been on every part of the farm since the storm. But you're right, you know. But for example, the Suriname Cherry that I just bring you today.
Oh, wow. Let me bring it in focus here. Which one is it?
That's the one on the bottom there.
Oh, sorry.
And this is the perfect example, you know. This will never be a commercial fruit because, yes, see it here. That one survived Melissa.
And you see, and that's the funny thing, what you just said is powerful because Melissa took down a lot of, oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble. Melissa took down a lot of agricultural crops, didn't it?
It did, right. Even on my land.
Even on his land. But yet, nature managed to still provide for Thomas and for us because some trees survived, right? So the commercial agricultural stock that are beaten, but guess what? We live in paradise because there's always different types of food that are accessible at any given time of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
And you see, you were talking about the preserved thing. You know, I was so happy to have some dry fruits in this situation.
Exactly.
You know, some came from here. I had some mangoes and pineapples. That was nice. And some were from foreign, raisin, you know, and I don't have a problem using them. Would be nice. I can provide some as well for the other countries. And I haven't reached that level yet.
Right.
And, you know, chutneys, wine, all those things, you see them in a different perspective after a storm.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
So that was a wake-up call for me. You know, even dry coconut. Have a 5-gallon jar with that under your bed.
Yes, sir.
It makes, after Melissa's situation, a lot more bearable than having nothing.
Because technically speaking, what we're experiencing now, which I've tried to avoid saying, is a famine. If we define it strictly based off, all right, let me not go there. Let's leave it. Let's talk about something else.
No, but I think you're right. I mean, even for myself, you know, I've never been hungry. Every day I eat, but I eat more rice. I still eat a lot of ground food because that hasn't been affected to that degree. It's still there.
Another good point, because there's food under the ground. that Melissa would not have been able to readily, I mean, maybe flooding, but not readily affect. So nature provides food above ground and below ground. And that's what we're surviving off. Now, I promised Thomas and I made a promise to each other before we started that we wouldn't get political. But technically, if we don't know how to survive with something like this, after what essentially has been a famine, then we're gonna be at a loss. I use that word.
Yeah.
I use that word.
You know, the losses, you talk about losses, you know, I think, and I'm also speaking personally, we lose a lot of unnecessary things that we didn't really need it in the first place. So there was a little cleanup.
Yep.
And hopefully we do remember the essentials, and hopefully we do remember what really helped us. And, you know, I'm so happy that I get a dehydrator. And I really want to use, I just got it a few months before the storm.
Nice.
And I didn't really use it a lot, but it is definitely my intention to do more of that, especially when I get some help to, you know, my two hands can only do so much.
Yeah, so I mean, you guys, I'm gonna put Thomas's contact information somewhere in this podcast episode, because I really think that he's onto something. I mean, I'm trying my best to keep up with him, but certainly his idea and vision for what we need to do was almost prophetic.
But the sad part is I talk about that for 30 years, you know. But what I did realize, and this was really helpful, you know, I was in Switzerland during the storm, and it was kind of a relief that I don't have to deal with it, but also kind of unsettling that I wasn't here. I would have had some losses, less than, you know, I had now. Yes, I could have prepared a bit better. And like nursery stuff, I would have moved that into the house, you know. But my helpers, they didn't think that far. You know, they didn't even unplug the fridge or the solar system. But and that's the next thing, you know. Having things and not be able to carry it, it's also not good. So I have been talking to some people in authority about, you know, setting up some kind of civil service in Jamaica. And I actually heard that politics decided to do it, but it's not being manifested. And, you know, my vision is, you know, to fruitify the island with young people who are, you know, young men, women who kind of don't fit into the system too tough, provide them with a little cash, plant some trees in the cities.
Urban gardening. That would work.
It's good. It's good stuff, and it's being done successfely in other countries.
Hey, I was thinking about Jamaica recently, and I thought to myself, two observations. I mean, because I just came back from. By the time you watch this, you'll know I just came back from Peru, and I watched how the people live in Peru. But I noticed in Jamaica we have no poisonous animals.
40 leg.
Well, 40 leg.
And
I mean, in terms of like, all right, 40 leg, fine. Well,
but it's still harmless compared to others.
Compared to like a black widow, it's fine. Or tarantula.
Yeah.
So we have no, and then I was doing some basic from as best as I could with my medical mind, looking at some herbal medicine books recently, specifically those that grow in Jamaica. And I noticed a similar pattern, which is that almost every leaf of fruit trees in Jamaica is good for you, for teas and for poultice and for tincture and all of these things. But I'm wondering how many people know this.
The older people still know that because they will tell you to go pick some leaves and make a tea. The younger ones, less and less. And funny enough, I don't know if you heard that, but I just, on the way down here today, I was looking at social media and I found a thing about cannabis. They find in the leaves, which is like usually discarded, you know, they find some flavonoids that are very, very special.
Of course.
So,
Of course.
you know, we have everything that we need.
Yeah. I think that's the summary point right here. We do. We have everything that we need, especially in Jamaica.
Yeah, and I think it is because, and it's funny, where we're going. The Spanish, they do some foolishness to the island, but they also bring some good stuff.
Yes.
The British,
Yes.
I mean, we know the history there, but thanks to them, we also have some good stuff here. And, of all people, I had this discussion with AI about the future of the planet. If we can switch our mindset from scarcity to prosperity, our problem is solved.
Exactly.
Logically speaking, if nothing more drastic happened than the last million years, humanity can survive another million years. We have the finances, we have the technology, we have the knowledge. If we learn to cooperate and help each other.
I was about to say the same thing. And we spoke, Thomas and I were talking earlier about how we survived post-Melissa. This is the Hurricane Cat 5 that hit us in October.
6 or 7, excuse me.
Probably 8 or 9.
I'm not sure, but...
So they didn't have a measurement for how hard it was. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of these plants shortly. But one of the things we realized was that Melissa forced us to be neighborly. Yeah. So I know that there's a level of governmental involvement that's always going to be required. So to provide on a large scale, a national scale, the help that people need to rebuild and to get food and to get medical supplies and health and so on. But for me, I was able to focus on helping my neighbors in my immediate vicinity. They helped me. And I reached out to Thomas, and Thomas we're kind of working on some stuff together to see how we can rebuild and exchange some stuff. So I didn't get a chance to be a part of the machinery that was very visible and large scale stuff. But I think if each person was able to adopt that approach, not just after a storm, but in general, to just look out for your neighbor, right? And see how you can help cooperate, as you just said. So it works on a micro scale, it works on a national scale, it works on an international scale. But I know, I'm sure, I tried to take a media fast, but I couldn't resist. I had to go and see what was happening with let's just call it current affairs right now.
Yeah, that's very important in a situation like that, And it's funny you say that, because I had this experience after Ivan. I was just in the country too, and the storm happened. Sunday morning, it stopped. People go outside, and there was a gang going through. Some with a machete, some with a power saw. Check on the lady down in the gully. Check on the man on the hilltop. And by the evening, the whole community was checked. And then the young people get together and say, "Oh, and where is government?" I just bust out laughing. I said, "You are the government. You just take care of everything that was needed."
Exactly.
And sadly, Melissa confirmed that. Maybe it's true for humanity, but I realized it in Jamaica especially, we just do better in a crisis than on daily life. Daily life is, soon come, this and that. In a crisis, people perform without question.
I think it's in our genes. And I say "or" because he's an honorary Jamaican.
It rub off.
Yeah. It's in our genes.
And it's funny you say that, because, when people ask you about Melissa and how it did me, I said, when my now ex-girlfriend left me, it was more dramatic than the storm. When...
Was her name Melissa?
No. And I'm sorry for all the women named Melissa in Jamaica right now. So
they have to hide.
They have to hide for the next 3 years, man.
Oh, man. Hey, you guys need to contact Thomas. I'm going to have his information throughout the video. But I think more than just helping him or helping me or, I think there needs to be greater cooperation. And what I found recently is that I met Thomas at a flower show in
Montpellier,
right? Yeah. And that was like April last year.
It's usually Easter Monday, sometimes March or sometimes April.
And the truth is, I went to the show and I kept going back to his stall. So he had all of these exotic plants. And I came to the show to buy flowers and maybe a couple other things, but I kept going back to his stall and asking him more questions until eventually he said, hey, why don't you just take my information? You can come by my actual property and I'll show you what I have because I have other people to serve. And I bought some stuff from him. I remember the very first thing I bought, he just brought some for me as well. It's this thing called Bilimbi. Yeah, and this got me so excited and my wife could figure out why. Because I thought to myself, well, clearly this is good for something. Just looking at it, you can kind of hold it a little closer. You can sense that it's good. And it grows naturally without much. Like you don't.
Melissa proved the case.
Exactly.
I came back 2 weeks after the storm, and the tree was in full blossom, no leaves on it, full of blossom. Mm-hmm. All the trees, same stage, and then they started to grow, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I could start use a few of them, cut them up, and put them in my stew or salads. Yep. Another name for it is tree cucumber. And you can actually use them like cucumber. And imagine you don't have to go plant it every year. You plant it once, and it bears 3-4 times for the year. Yep. And when you have 3 or 4 trees, they kind of bear at different times, and you're good.
Yeah.
Hi.
That's fine. Earlier this chapter, the issue just came in. So Thomas just touched on something, which is...
And the leaves are, sorry to cut you, the leaves are also edible. And that's what I learned, that most fruit trees, the leaves are edible or medicinal as well. Yeah. So I'm not saying it is not possible, but it's hard to find poisonous leaves on a fruit tree.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so like this, you plant, as you say, you plant once and it just does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Or you need to do some bushing to keep the area like that.
Of course, yes. When they're young, I have one tree that just popped in my mind in front of the yard. Yeah. And sometimes I forget about it and I have to dig out from the vines taking over and they pull it down. But I have one tree, it's not as tall as me and it bears already.
See, exactly.
So, and it's not about finding the miracle, this is the fruit good for everything. No, that's not how nature works. So if you would ask me what's my favorite fruit, I would tell you the one in season. I can never go wrong.
Yeah, he does say that. And also, another trick thing with Thomas is you ask him what this is good for, and he says, well, all fruits are, tell him the story.
Yeah, they're rich in minerals, enzymes, and vitamins.
Hey, that's all right, Jeff. That's fine. Jeff will pass him through.
So the fruits have what we need. It's real food for real people. Mm-hmm. And I think the taste buds also help us. Something you might not like it and might not be so good for you at the moment. Maybe later it's different. Yeah. So
it's something that I'm coming to grips with. I remember when I started my journey away from conventional medicine, whatever that is. People said to me, so you're a herbalist? And I said, well, no. And the reason why I said no was because I didn't have a knowledge of herbs. So I thought it would be unfair that my only 2 choices were conventional or herbalist. But the more I've hung out with people like Thomas, is the more I'm starting to understand how readily nature has already given us what we need. And yes, I've studied all the genetic pathways to treat certain diseases like cancer. We know how to target different points in the molecular chain and so on and so forth. But these fruits don't ask me those questions. They do what they need to do. And even if I don't know what they're doing, as Thomas just said, it's real food for real people. And he has not had to, apart from keeping the property reasonably landscaped, he has not had to fertilize this, I doubt.
No. I might have fertilized some of the trees when they were young,
Very young.
you know, to get them out of the danger situation.
Exactly.
But I couldn't even fertilize all of them, you know, or spray them and all what people have to do in commercial farming.
Exactly.
I might have some trees that I sprayed them when they're young because I really have only one and I want to not lose it.
Yeah.
And then the weather, you know, some trees that I have, they are more for drier climate. I live in the second wettest part in Jamaica, so fungus can be an issue at times.
Yeah, it's true. Because
So
when I went to Thomas's house, I've been there 3 times now.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, every single time we've been to Thomas's, and you guys can watch the previous video where Nurse and I went. It has rained, and it has rained at exactly the same time.
You know, now we're in the dry season and we still get rain once or twice a week.
There you go.
Yeah, so we're blessed. And then the soil is heavy clay soil, which is not good for everything. It's hard to grow carrots and onion in that soil, but it's excellent for trees.
Precisely.
They, you know, we had a pretty rough dry last year. And on my land, it was still covered by leaves, not like now with Melissa. You know, this year may be a bit different, although it's greening back so nicely. I don't really foresee big problems.
And it's a new equilibrium, isn't it? Because we've gotten used to one level of how our habitat was working. And the storm came and, you know, people kind of casually make statements, oh, it was a reset, it was a cleanup. But the truth is, it's just established a new equilibrium, right? And we get used to the new equilibrium because it's been changing for centuries. Right?
And it will always change. I mean, we don't really know, you know, with Melissa there now, this was compared to Ivan or Beryl, I mean, it made those storms look like babies.
Yeah.
So it was on a different level.
Yeah, for sure.
And we don't even want to go there. How much was, you know, was it man-made? How much was the influence, you know, by man, global warming and such thing?
Yeah.
The fact is that it's, you know, you cannot really expect something like that. If it comes, and that's where I'm kind of a little bit proud of what I have done and how my farm kept up. I lose a lot, but I still have more than most, and I have you know, more space to plant other things, maybe more valuable things that I thought were dead, sprouting back. So, you know, it kind of gives me a little confidence that, you know, surviving such a storm and still have things to eat afterwards. And it kind of feels like a test has been passed.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I've said for years, even while I was conventional, I've said for years that I think Jamaica ought to be a world superpower in food. Or I should say medicine.
And in wellness.
And in wellness, exactly.
Health and wellness.
Health and wellness. I've said it for years. I've said it in speeches, I've said it in podcasts, I've said it in lectures, I've said it in presentations overseas. I really believe that Jamaica's purpose was and is to be an influence on the rest of the world in terms of having medicinal foods, teaching the world how to use them properly, right? Because I just came back from Peru, and of course there's a million or more options in the Amazon jungle that are medicinal in use, and I'm not knocking any of that, but to get to them,
technically, I mean, that's their medicine. We have to have ours around us, you know, and this is what I learned from my brethren.
Healthy Reasoners, there's so much more I'd love to be able to say during these podcast episodes, but out of respect for the platforms that I'm on, such as this one, I do not think it would be the best move. And so I want to be able to provide even more unfiltered, clear conversations for you, the Healthy Reasoners. So I invite you to join me in our very own private community over at healthyreasonings.com. There, we can talk in a little bit more detail. I actually have several benefits available for you. It's live Q&A sessions once a week. We're going to have discussions amongst ourselves. We're going to see if we can get some of our guests to come on there as well to share their thoughts in a more candid way. And so many other benefits, including behind the scene footage, other resources, merch and apparel, lots of things that are going to make your life so much better, healthier and more productive. So I invite you to join us over there at healthyreasonings.com. Sign up to join the community. It is totally free, and you're going to see me there live and in living color, speaking in clear, unfiltered terms. Jump over right now and I'll see you there. Now we're here with Thomas. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me very well, but Thomas was just having one of our guests taste Bilimbi. And my guest is a VIP here. Her name is Dawn.
Hi.
She's visiting from the States. She's a nurse practitioner and she came to spend some time with us. And she just tried Bilimbi. What did you think?
It was a tart. It's sweet, sour, tartish.
Tartish. Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
Thomas, what is Bilimbi anyway?
It's an ingredient I've been using daily for years now. As when I have it available, and with a few trees, you have it available most of the time. It's a great help in the kitchen. It gives me seasoning. I use it in salads. I use it in seasoned rice. I stew, soup.
Wow.
I make chutney with it at time. An Indian man teach me about that part.
Wow.
And I had a brethren, he make wine with it as well.
Wow.
So it's very versatile. Salads, it just adds a little spark, you know. It's something I love to use.
What else do we have here, man? Because you're the boss. Tell us what you have.
The Thai liberty plant. That's something I don't know much about it. I get it from an Australian man who visited Jamaica.
Wow.
He bring it, and it's a mild. There's no big flavor, or it's not like oregano or thyme or so that you have a big flavor aroma wise. It's kind of neutral. Can use in salads. You can use it like spinach too.
Nice.
It doesn't make seeds here, at least not, but it can stick. Catches easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't need pesticide or insecticide, nothing like that. And yeah, it has been around me for a few years, and it survived Melissa as well.
Which one is it? This one.
This
right?
one is
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Then this is.
This is the miracle fruit. This is the annatto in here. That is different. This is the miracle fruit plant. And I would not plant this in the garden right away. I would put it in a bigger container.
Thank you, sir.
And
As I found out
yeah.
that way.
It's not out of the critical stage yet.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when they're about this size, they start to really do their
Yeah,
thing,
that was my
making
mistake.
branches. Yeah.
What about this one here?
That is the ram goat Dashalong, otherwise known as rock rose. And I learned that in Nigeria they use this like callaloo,
Wow.
which is funny because I'm not telling you to take off the leaf, but touch the leaf and smell your hand. It has a very nice flavor.
Oh, wow. It smells like a rambo.
No, it smells better.
Oh, wow.
Some say actually it has a resemblance to gancho in the way it's sent.
Wow. And then.
And then we have the Suriname Cherry.
Nice.
Yes.
I can't wait to plant these.
Also, I find plants blossoming when I came back, and then they put on cherries. So I had already a few cherries since after the storm.
And then what did I give you? Just for the record, to show.
A lot more than I bring you. We have the French thyme or oregano, and we have the panadol plant,
Yes.
and then we have this one here, which I don't know the name, but it's
Yeah.
very beautiful.
Yeah, I just had them grow in patience, drop them off, and
Okay.
I just let them grow.
I mean, I don't know what it is either, but we'll find out. Or somebody talk in the comments. That's all right, Marvel. Somebody can jump in the comments and tell us what on earth that thing is.
And we're not talking about the seeds that are also in here because that gets somebody into trouble.
Thomas, I mean, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. I know it's a unique opportunity, and I'm grateful. And let's hope that somebody will enjoy this video. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Healthy Reasonings podcast. Remember to subscribe to this podcast so you can be updated as soon as new episodes are ready. If you have a question, send us a voice note on WhatsApp or a WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp number is 1-876-405-7831. For more information or to become a sponsor, please email wellnessdocjamaica@gmail.com. See you soon.